I don't know. Maybe that group is just too serious. Wes is like, hell no, I'm not gonna tank.
No, I enjoy tanking. I just, you know, it ain't something you want to do all the time. Sometimes you just want to blow shit up as DPS or whatever. Or at least that's how I am.
Yeah, I think people do get stuck in that role, and I mean, tanking can be fun, and it can be really nice when it's done correctly. But there's just like I'll tell you when I'm tanking and you know I see DPS not doing their fucking job, I know I'm giving them the stink eye for real. Oh, honey buns, I should not be beating you with my shitty swipe. But that's just me. I'm mean.
Well, you know what bothers me though is that there should be. How can I better phrase this? Look, sometimes certain players get annoyed at other players, or a lack of patience might be the better word. A lack of patience that they have with the other players, but sometimes players do take. Some players take a little longer than others to catch on to what's going on, the nuances of certain fights. Some will never get it, but that's a different issue. I'm just talking about those that it may take them 2 weeks where somebody else may learn it in 2 hours. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's a lack of impatience, but I understand that because you want to keep, you want to move, you want to progress. I like to see when the whole team does it versus when you have 2 or 3 people and then they're in a hurry. Then they start putting negative vibes out because they're feeling they're getting dragged down or being held back. For me, I like to see that with teams, at least, hey, that you are able to have people and discuss the things, the responsibilities they should have. Look, in certain fights, it's not clear, so you need to at least point out, okay, range, these are your target priorities, boom, 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 melee, boom, 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 tanks, we're going to be doing this. Sometimes that is vital, and it's also vital when you're trying new strategies, but you have to also recognize when people do know the shit, and it's a question of now whether they're following through or not. And if people aren't following through, then you may have to do strategy shifts to counter that so they don't get in trouble. But in lieu of that, you have to make things clear without dragging it out. What I'm getting at is like tonight, I like the fact that we were looking at new stuff, but I hated the fact that it was so prolonged in its explanation when it could have been done so much easier. Hey, let's try this. You guys stand here, here, and here, and when this shit happens, you do this, and then when that happens, you do this. Okay, let's try it. You go for it, it doesn't work. Okay, let's fine tune it until it's well said. That's how we did the strategy for this guy, the last guy, Zul. It wasn't well executed, but that's how we figured out we wanted to make sure people drop that green stuff all in one spot, how we handle where we position ourselves, etc., etc. There's still a lot of vagueness in that fight. I'll be honest. That's why, in my opinion, the last 20 to 25% of that fight is usually the wipe zone, because there's a confusion and there's a monumental shift that has to occur in that fight near the last phase. Because as I remember, this the last 25%. At 60%, Omnis comes out, and then it's just DPS and down to 25. But at 25, he picks up certain things and it gets a little more bitchy. But that last 25% is the hardest part of that fight. And what I'm finding out is that people really don't know where to stand. You're getting the annihilation. People annihilated themselves. You're green, you're purple. Don't stand next to each other. Boom! You took both of yourselves out, plus 1 or 2 more. Thank you. So that's what I believe in that fight. But my point had been that at the initial point of standing near the stairs for green, and on the other side for purple, that was a fundamental shift from the way we were doing it before, where we had the boss position in a certain spot, then we would be at the edges, almost falling. How many people fell off with that strategy? I mean, I was one. So, oops, went a little too far. That's what happens in there. But my point again is that what we have to recognize is when there is an impatience due to just that, impatience and frustration with a fight and with players, and when there's a frustration over the strategy, and then try to figure those things out. So people, don't get pissed off at people if they don't know what you're talking about. Some of the shit that was explained today, I had no fucking clue what was really being explained because I didn't have a relative point. His left and right are not, maybe weren't my left or right, or at least in a straight line. Okay, in what direction? Your line goes east, mine in my head's going north. Right there's a misunderstanding. So that's part of the difficulty inherent in explaining shit, without diagrams, but neither here nor there. Anyway, I'm going long-winded, but you understand my point, hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, I think I came in and I was like, what? I'm just gonna do what I normally do, which is kill ghosts. Like, that's all I do on the shaman when we go there. Chain lightning, earthquake, make sure I kill ghosts. Don't even worry about Sakatar, just ghosts. That's my job.
And we did good tonight. On that fight with the, our biggest problem has always been those ghosts. And I think we did a great job on. Again, they melted. To me, it was one of those unique points when shit happens and you're like, what the fuck? Because they did melt. We were very good on the humanoids. But I think, in the positioning, we had little issues. There should have been a strategic repositioning of the whole raid body for one reason, to encompass two things: that fucking green ball that comes at you that you got to move aside and let it hit you, from, ranged, and for that fire thing, the charge, the fell charge. When it's, people, when it's haphazard and people are all over the fucking place, that shit will be all over the place. And any strategies that you might have, really have gone over and over and over and over at the beginning, any of those strategies that took 3,000 hours to explain means nothing because everybody fucked up on the last 25% of the fight, which is like the part of the fight that's the most important. Because the focus had been on all the earth. Well, when we're here, you stand here, and then we'll get the charge here, and then we'll get the prison. Well, hopefully we'll get a prison at 32 degrees, east of the West Point right there, and, come on now. All right, so you got that technical, but the failure was at the end. You had 25% to go, and what happens? People were ill-positioned. I brought this up before. I did this discussion one time before in the Knights fight, and I was a dick about it, but people moved, and eventually what happened was we did work that strategy out. When we moved the raid body to a new spot to reflect what we were doing originally, it was like a mirror of what we did originally. In other words, look, you got to reposition. We did. We killed them. There was no problem. People knew where to go. People knew they were repeating what they had done the first time around. There was no variation. What had varied was where we stood. Because it's all relative to where, the portals are coming out and all this other shit. So it's a fluid fight. You have to move. And to make it more clear, if you remember how the fight looks, all right, the boss is right in front of us. I'm talking about Zul, right? Yeah, Zul. He's, hold on, wrong fight. Hold on. Let me get my head right. Talking about Sakrathar. So he's right in front of us. I'm talking about range, not melee and not tank. Healers and ranged, where we stand, he's right in front of us. Now, every group that I've been with, they come to the left-hand side, and the shit comes, and eventually they move to the right. I've been, and I hope you all follow me on that. That's what we do until that point when there's a phase change, and then we have to go in. And fight the construct when that second guy that comes out. Okay. Today we were told that we were going to start on the right hand side. I have no clue as to the why, and then we were going to move it left and move it right, and we were going to get a prison right there in between both the left and the right one. Well, I know what happened. I found my ass up was all the way on the left hand side, and I couldn't get across because of all the green fire, and I had to find an edge. All I'm saying is it took DPS time away from me because I was trying to get to the fight. All that, from all that stand. I was standing with people. That was funny. But you go through that extent of explaining all that, and that specific spot that you wanted us to be on, okay. Now we go to the middle. We all know where you want us in the middle, okay? But it changes again back to stage 1, or and so you have to have ranged out there so that they can get the green fire off the charge working correctly, plus the prisons, plus the orb, the green orb coming, because those 3 things will be coming. And if you're haphazard, they'll be all over the place, and before you realize that people are dying to shit they can't avoid. The Minari is pushing people into stuff. The ghosts are mismanaged at that point because there's no fire slowing them down, or the fire's misplaced. And if you trace all that down, you find out nobody ever shifted to mirror what you did in phase 1. Now, in all these fights, and I'm going to finish real quick, in all these fights, only one time have I ended up on that shift in the same spot where I began. For instance, where we began the fight today, that at the end, the last part of that fight, by fortune, we're back to the same spots. Exact same spots that we started in. That's perfect. In lieu of that, it should be the northeast corner, the diagonal from where we stand normally. We stand on the southwest corner, or in the middle, but that's where the range stands. And what I'm saying is that when the phase change goes, we should actually be looking the other way, relative to where the fucking red portal is. But anyway, that's a little technical. I got away from what we were talking about. I'm sorry, guys. It's just my observation of what's fucking up that fight. No, seriously, good. I mean, we were talking about something else, and I changed gears, and I did say that, but we're never going to get that fight until we decide that that's what we have to do at that last part. No matter how many hours we spend on the first, phase and the second phase discussing it.
You know what I should do, Mo?
Hey, I got a store run, guys. Sorry, man. Hey, thanks for listening, and I'll be talking to y'all soon. Luna, thank you for coming. Wes, thank you for having you back. And Corey, you coming back more often?
I'll try to, especially if I can.
Man, you spent the $15 or the 30 some odd gold for the ticket, so use it.
Yeah, well, I had a good time. If you ever clicked on that link I sent you,
I wrote it down. I'm gonna look at it.
It's great. Well, that's just to the stream itself, but the VOD right now it's showing is your tune, and I don't know, it's great. You should see this.
All right, buddy. I'll talk at you. Bye bye.
See you, man. Oh. Yeah, I think I missed that the most.
Well, the ramblings of Mo.
Oh,
great.
yeah. I can make that a whole series, man.
Wes, are you gonna tell Josh to tank with you? Like old time.
Yeah, I don't know. Josh don't even hardly talk to me anymore.
Josh is he's pretty quiet. He doesn't even. I don't think he has a mic still. I don't know. I think a lot of people. I don't know. I don't know. I used to tank for a little bit with them, and then I was raiding like Friday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I think even Saturday night. Sunday, I don't know. I was raiding every day, and I was like, "Oh my god, I can't do this again." It's like, damn.
Yeah, You can overdo it. I'm on the verge of overdoing it now.
Yeah, we'll see how tomorrow goes. Maybe that will be nice. Just not have to do it on Saturday during the day.
Yeah, I'm gonna hop off. I got company coming over soon, so I'm gonna clean my room somewhat for them.
Gotta cover up the true evidence, huh? I hear you.
Yeah, yeah, well, I mean, you know how it goes.
I'm gonna go to bed.
I've been there. Yeah, I'm gonna get off of it. I'll holler at y'all later.
Yep, see ya. Have a good night.